Hi, this is Chef Jason. We're in the teaching kitchen today here at Operation Food Search, and we're going to make a black-eyed pea soup with turkey sausage and collard greens. Let's get started. All right, so for this soup, we're going to be using turkey sausage. Now, you can use Italian sausage if you like. I'm using turkey today. This is turkey kielbasa. You can use something that is smoked, something that is unsmoked. It's really up to you. So to break this down, this came in a full length. I'm going to cut it into quarters just so it's a little bit more manageable. And if you want, you can cut it into coins, or you can cut it in half first and then cut it into kind of these half moon shapes. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm looking for about a 1/4 inch width here. Okay, so now that our turkey sausage is cut up, I'm going to heat up my burner. What we're going to do is we're going to add some olive oil to the pan, and we're going to add the turkey sausage. And although the turkey sausage is fully cooked, we want to get a little bit of color on it. That's going to really enhance the flavor at the end of the soup. All right, with the oil heated up, we're going to add in our sausage. We can already start to see some color forming on the flat part of that sausage. That is exactly what we're looking for. All right, we're just going to let that be so it can develop some color. And then next up, once we brown the sausage, we're going to add our aromatics. Today we're going to be using carrot, onion, and chopped up fennel. If you don't have fresh fennel, you can certainly substitute celery. But if you do have fennel, go ahead and use that. It produces a great flavor. What you'll probably start to see is as we brown the sausage, you're going to see some of that fond develop in the bottom of the pan. That's going to be this kind of dark bit of cooked on sausage that you're going to see at the bottom of the pan. That's okay, because add our onion, carrot, fennel mixture, the moisture that's coming off of those aromatics are going to start to deglaze the pan. And then certainly when we add our chicken stock, if we have any fond left over, that's going to deglaze as well. So by the time we get to the portion where we're simmering the soup, we're going to have a clean bottom of our pot. Now I've got my collard greens on deck, ready to go. Collard greens have a very thick stem that runs down the center. So if we unfold the leaf, we can see that. And what we want to do is fold it in half, and we're just going to cut that large stem away. And then we're left with just the tender leaf. Now we're going to give this another few seconds. And we're just going to continue to cut that stem off. You can do it by hand as well, just by kind of pulling it away from the actual tender leaf itself. We are good to add our aromatics. So I have got my carrots, I've got my fennel, and I have my onion. Now is a good time to add a pinch of salt. This is the stage where the kitchen starts to smell wonderful. That turkey sausage has started to brown. The aromatics are just going in. Once we add the garlic, that's going to take it to the next level. So with our collard greens, we've got those the stems taken out. So I have more collard greens than this, and I'm going to add to the soup. But I'm just going to kind of show you how we can do this. Now, how you cut up your collard greens is kind of up to you. If you want to have larger, more visible pieces in the soup, you can certainly cut them larger, or you can cut them smaller. This particular soup is, the recipe is formulated to cook relatively fast. This is a soup that will cook in well under an hour. So what I do is I will cut these a little bit smaller. So I kind of roll them up, and then I cut them long ways like this, and then turn them back and cut them into a little bit more bite-sized pieces. And again, that is an absolute personal preference. the way that I think about it with this particular dish is that if the pieces of the collard green are a little bit smaller, more of these ingredients will fit on the spoon as you take a bite. Now we're going to start to see the moisture from those aromatics escape, and it's going to start to clean up the bottom of this pan right around the same time the vegetables start to soften. And once these vegetables start to soften and start to get a little bit translucent, we're going to add our garlic spice mixture, and we're going to cook that for about a minute. All right, we are now going to add our garlic and our seasoning mix. So this step is going to do a couple things. It's going to start to cook the garlic just a little bit, but it's going to start to toast those spices, so it's going to get very aromatic very quickly. This is only going to take about 30, maybe 30 to 60 seconds. Now we are going to go in with our tomato. We're going to go in with our chicken stock. We can already see the bottom of that pot already cleaned up. We're going to add the rest of our chicken stock. We've got our black-eyed peas. Now these black-eyed peas came out of a can. I did rinse and drain them before I added them. And now we're going to add our collard greens. Now, if you don't have collard greens, that's okay. You can substitute kale. You can use spinach, mustard greens, any other hearty green. If you are using spinach, I would probably say you don't need to add the spinach until the latter part of the cooking because spinach, especially baby spinach, does not take very long to cook. All right, so we are going to bring this to a simmer and we are going to let it cook for maybe about 20 minutes. What we're looking for is for the collard greens to be cooked. Now, what we look for with collard greens, when we do a long cook on them, they start to break down. They start to get very, very tender. With this particular recipe, since we're doing a soup in under an hour, they're not going to cook nearly as long as you would if you were making collard greens on their own. So they're going to have a little bit more of a texture that has a little bit more of their natural texture to them. Now, if you want to cook them longer, you absolutely can. You can cook this soup for well over an hour. What you will want to do is take a peek and see how much liquid you still have in the pot. There may be an instance where if you're cooking this for a long period of time, especially uncovered, that you'll want to add some more chicken broth to it. All right, so the soup has been simmering away for about 25 minutes, and we can already see that the leaves of the collard greens have already started to change color. They've started to break down a little bit more. At this point, if you taste them, they still have just a slight bit of texture, a little bit more than you would have if you cooked these for a couple of hours. But if you wanted to keep on cooking it, you absolutely could. I am going to taste this for consistency just to see. I think that's good. Could probably do another 10 minutes if we wanted to soften them up a little bit more. But that's kind of your preference. You know, whatever you want this texture to be. Right now, the way it sits, it's got a little bit of texture to it from the natural leaf. Final couple of steps is I'm going to add some fresh dill to this. If you have fresh dill, that's great. If you don't, you can totally leave it out. If you have fresh parsley, you can use that. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little green leaves off of there. And one way you can do this is to just run your finger the opposite direction of the stem, and they will come right off. Some of these smaller stems you may have to do individually. Just want to make sure you don't get any of the thick stalk in there. So if I break that up, and I hold it just like this, and I kind of drag the stem away from it, I'll get most of those leaves. Now I'm just going to take my knife. I'm going to give this a chop. I'm just going to rock my knife back and forth over and over. Now we are going to add the dill. Stir that in. Now, remember in this recipe, we were using some cayenne. Cayenne's going to bring a little bit of heat to this. If you want it less spicy, remove the cayenne. If you want it more spicy, add more cayenne. And what I would recommend is maybe wait until the soup is completely done before you add that additional amount of cayenne, just so you can control the heat just a little bit more. Another thing you can do at the very end is add a little squeeze of lemon juice. This is just going to add just this slight zip of freshness and acidity. And at this point, we want to taste. We want to make sure that our seasoning is good. Let me get some of that broth. And add just a touch of salt. Remember, we didn't add a whole lot of salt to this. We've got chicken stock in here. We've got the sausage. Those two things alone are going to bring some seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. I'm going to add a touch more of our smoked paprika. Remember that spice blend that we added earlier was cumin, smoked paprika, black pepper, and cayenne. I think that smoked paprika just gives it a really great deep flavor. All right, let's taste this now. I think that's really good. We're going to plate this up. This looks great. It is super hearty, packed with protein. It's got that wonderful texture of the sausage, as well as the beans and the collard greens. This is a wonderful soup. I hope you make this at home. Give it a shot. If you see an ingredient there that you want to substitute, go for it. Make this your own. This is a wonderful soup. I hope you enjoy. And just remember, if it tastes good, you did it right.